Australia's upcoming social media ban won't require platforms to verify every user's age, only that they take responsible steps to remove under 16 accounts. Dr. Karen Sutherland from the University of the Sunshine Coast joins us now for more. This is a very interesting one. We've heard a lot about banning under 16s, but is that not actually the case right now? Take us through it.
I tell you what, I'm confused. I'm really confused. We've been waiting because all along we've like, how are they even going to enforce this? And then they've come out with these very vague guidelines that put the onus on the platforms to make sure that they're complying with this age ban and that they trust the platforms to take reasonable steps to make sure that they're removing under 16s from the platforms. But what does that actually mean? There's no rules there. As you said, there's not any sort of mandatory age testing on the platforms. They did some research and they found that actually using government-issued ID cards was efficient, but they're worried about the data security around that. And so they decided not to go in that direction.
I like the irony of that. It's quite interesting as well. Why do you think the government hasn't chosen to legally mandate these rules?
I think because they're so blurry. Verifying someone's age is very difficult unless you have that actual ID. But then they're saying, no, that's a data risk. If someone hacks the platforms and had all that information, that then no, that can't happen. So I don't know how it's actually going to be enforced. And I really would like to see, the fine is massive, but how will a platform actually be taken to court over this? Like, I think we have to see it play out, but I have grave doubts as to the effectiveness of this ban.
Yes, and when it comes to these responsible steps for compliance, what do you think that means in relation to platforms like, say, TikTok or Snapchat, Instagram, these kinds of things?
I think they need to go through all the current users and make sure that they're not under 16 and then remove them if they are, and then not allow any new users under 16 to join the platform. The government's left that up to them, how they do that, because I guess each platform is different and the rules around and the process of signing up is different for each platform. So they've left them to do that and sort that out themselves. But yeah, how will they test? Will there be like regular checks? Who's going to actually check the platforms? Will the government be doing that on a regular basis? How will they know if they're being compliant or not?
And with these under 16s, do you reckon a few of them are going to slip through? It seems like pretty easy to get past this ban. Do you think it's more of a symbolic
I think they'll do
ban,
their best. I don't know about you, but I remember when I was 16, I would try to definitely to find loopholes in things that I wasn't allowed to do. I think 16-year-olds and under 16s are very innovative. So yes, I think they will be doing their darndest, or they'll just go to other platforms. The platforms named in this, it's a small number. There are so many other social media platforms that under 16s are already active, so they'll just go over there.
And when it comes to platforms like YouTube, this was originally excluded, but then it was later included into the ban. What do you think changed the government's mind when it came to this platform in particular?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think it's because I guess there's a lot of activity on there of what under 16s are consuming, because YouTube is the second most popular search engine apart from Google, even though now AI search is coming up, of course. But yes, like people were using it more as a search engine. And so I think that might have had an impact on it. But yeah, it's really interesting. And even though there's a lot of educational content on there, I think they were just trying to, again, safeguard against it and put it in, because it is a very popular platform, particularly in Australia. It's one of the most used platforms in Australia. So maybe it just needed to be there because all of the other mainstream ones were.
And do you think this law in general, it's going to make any meaningful change in terms of culture for teenagers, or will it just push them towards finding workarounds and alternatives that we touched on before?
I honestly think they'll just find other places to go. And I think there'll be also social media platforms pop up as an opportunity because of what's happening. So yeah, I would be interested to see how it plays out and how it affects our culture. But I don't think teens will stop using social media just because there is a ban.
Definitely. All right, and on to our next topic. Google DeepMind CEO Demis Hassabis is warning that without careful oversight, artificial intelligence could repeat the same harmful patterns once seen in social media. Dr. Karen Sutherland, the CEO compared AI's risk to move fast and break things kind of culture of social media. Do you think that warning is justified?
Absolutely. Yes, I do. We've seen the issues that have happened with certain features of AI platforms when they're all just rushing to market without fully testing the technology before releasing it to the mainstream. A good example was, remember when Google just started using their AI generated summaries when you're searching?
Oh my
And
gosh.
remember that and then some of them were saying it's okay to eat rocks, and you
Yes.
can actually glue cheese on pizza. And there were other worse ones too, if you remember. But yeah, I think that's a main issue. They're trying to do things as faster than the others. The competition is particularly get to AGI, and they're not really thinking about the safety and the ethics around the technology.
And what do you think is the biggest lesson that the AI industry as a whole could learn from the past mistakes into social media, pushing things out there maybe before they're ready?
If you think about social media, it was all about getting numbers and people on the platforms without having any sort of safeguards or guardrails in place in the beginning, particularly. And so the law could not keep up with the technology. And it's similar now with AI. It's very hard for the law to actually keep up with the pace of what's happening. But to do it effectively, we really need to try and preempt how things are going to go. And with AI and with a new technology, it can be very hard to do that because we don't know where it's going to go and where it's going to lead us. But I think it needs to be tested, just the CEOs of Google DeepMind said, it really needs to be tested thoroughly to look at those things that could possibly happen and have those risks mitigated before it's released to the public, rather than vice versa, because it'll be a case of the horses already bolted.
Definitely. And speaking on the CEO, he also raised concerns about addiction and mental health. How realistic are these risks when it comes to AI adoption?
It's already happening, and we've seen some really tragic news items around particularly younger people becoming reliant on AI chatbots and feeling isolated, and then doing some of the things that these chatbots have. They haven't been well mentally. And so I think that's an issue, particularly around mental health, but also we're losing the ability to think for ourselves and use AI as another perspective rather than the only perspective, going to it to ask simple questions and do simple tasks that we could just do ourselves. It's stopping us from learning new things, because rather than getting maybe the AI to teach us a new skill, we're just getting the AI to do the task rather than us actually learning something and continuing to develop.
Yes, that cognitive learning that's so vital and important. Do you think these algorithms as well are designed for engagement? Do you reckon they create this sort of echo chamber that now dominates social media? So just bringing people in, locking them into one little spot. What are your thoughts on this?
It can, and it depends on the model that you're using, because some have been much more sycophantic than others. And I often ask in the prompt, so when I think the model is doing that and telling me what I want to hear, I often ask it to be my straight talking mentor. And so,
Yes,
sometimes it can be
yeah.
it can be super harsh sometimes, but sometimes I need to hear that. So rather than it's going, oh yes, and praising me, sometimes I just want it to be straight.
Yeah, it's like, oh, we're all going through that. It's completely normal to feel that. You're the best person on the planet Earth. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
We've run out of time there, but really appreciate your time on the show today. Thank you so much for this fantastic breakdown, as always.